So we said that x was pasta.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, y is pasta.
Oh, so x is subs. Okay. Y is pasta. Okay, so for our first one, we have 90 people. A pasta bake feeds 20 people. And the sub tray feeds 15 people. Okay, so here's our first equation. So a Subway feeds 15, so that would be 15x, because 15 is for subs, and we said x is subs, plus 20 people for a pasta tray equals how many people are going to this party altogether? 90. That's your first equation. Your second equation is with the money. So we got 145. So I already know this second equation is going to equal 145. So how much is a Subway tray? 20. So 20x. And then how much is a pasta tray? 35. So make sure you have good notes. So again, you can use your notes on the first quiz. So now we have our equations. We can solve it using elimination. So please put away your phones. If you need to grab a calculator, I'll pause for a second so you can grab a calculator, because you will have to multiply both of these equations to solve it. So we will need to multiply both of these. So first of all, what do we want to eliminate? Do we want to eliminate x or y? That's our first decision. So let's take a vote. Who wants to get rid of x? Who wants to get rid of y? All right, so I saw some hands for y. So I'm going to, the easy way would be to multiply this top equation. You see how this one has 20 and this is 35? So the easiest way to do it would be to multiply the top equation by 35 and the bottom equation not by 20, but by what? Because it has to be opposites. By negative 20. Okay, so let's talk about why that is. So you guys, because again, thank you. What is 35 times 20 in your calculator? What's 35 times 20? 70? 700. What's negative 20 times 35? Negative 700. Remember, we need one to be positive and one to be negative, okay? So that when we add them, they cancel out. So using your calculator, I want you to multiply this top equation by 35. So we got some big numbers, which is why you all need calculators. So we're going to multiply this top equation by 35. So we're going to take 35 times 15. $525, so we got 525 x, and then 35 times 20 is 700 y, and that equals 35 times 90. Which is 3,150. So now take this second equation and multiply it by negative 20. Everything in this second equation, multiply it by negative 20. So the reason why we have to do that is so that when we add Notice something, we have opposites, right? Do you see how we have the opposites? So when we add it together, this is going to cancel. The 700, the y variable cancels out. So use your calculator, add these together. 525 minus 400. So we got 125x equals, and then do the same thing with this 3,150 divided by, 3,150 minus 2,900. So what's my last step to solve for x? Not add them together. Divide by what? All right, so let's divide that by 125. And this tells you that x equals 2. So I need 2 subtrays because x is subs. So I need to get 2 subtrays. I'm going to write that up. How many pasta trays? So I would go back to one of these equations here. So I would use, instead of the ones with the big numbers that we multiplied, let's use one of these. Okay, so let's use the top one. So I'm going to use this top one that says 15x plus 20y equals 90. So we figured out that x is 2. So that would be 15 times 2 plus 20y equals 90. Go ahead and solve that for y. Solve this equation for y. Yep, subtract the 30 from 90, and then divide that answer by 20. So again, just a reminder, the first quiz is open notes. So taking good notes in your bell work is going to be a really good tool for you to be successful on the quiz. Because you could see questions like this. So you can use that. You can make your own notes on separate sheets of paper. You can use your book. You can use anything that counts as notes. Okay, so that would be 20y equals 60. And then divide by 20. And you should get 3. Who got 3? Good job. So y equals 3. So that means we need 3 pasta bakes. So remember, for a word problem, we don't necessarily write that answer as an ordered pair. We just need to answer the question. So the question says, how many pasta bakes should be ordered? We need 3 pastas and we need 2 subs.
What if we just leave it as x equals 2 and y equals 3?
So if you only left it as x equals 2 and y equals 3, and I saw this, then I would still give you credit. But I need to know what your x and y represent. So if I don't know that x is subs, how do I know that you're saying 2 subs or 2 pastas? Unless I know what your x represents. So that's why it's important that you tell me from the beginning, x is going to be this, y is this. Okay? For number 2, this is the difference of 2 squares. So this is just a pattern. So you make your 2 parentheses. What multiplies to give you 81? So put a 9x in the front of both of your parentheses. 9x goes in the front. This only, so you don't need to make a box. This is a special pattern when we're talking about perfect squares. And what multiplies to be 49? 7. And the only thing you need to remember for this pattern is that one has to have a plus, the other one has to have a minus. It doesn't matter which one has a plus and which one has a minus. So the plus does not have to come first. But one of these has to have addition and the other one has to have subtraction. And you can switch them. That's what I was saying. So it could be 9x minus 7 and 9x plus 7. Okay, so we're going to do one 3x3 today. So you spend a little bit more time on bell work, and I always try to give you time to work on your homework in class. So go to page 27, and let's look at number 2. So page 27, question number 2. So again, just like yesterday, I like to start by labeling these A, B, C. So which variable do you think would be the easiest to get rid of? We're going to have to multiply because we don't have any opposites the way it's set up currently. So the way it's set up right now, I don't have any opposites. For X, I don't have any opposites for Y, and I don't have any opposites for Z. So which one do you think would be easiest, though, to get an opposite? Yes. Z. I agree. Because notice that for Z, these all have a 1. Okay? So all I need is for one of them to become a negative. And then I will have my opposites. Okay? So just so that we're all consistent, it doesn't matter which one we make negative. We can make A, B, or C negative. So which equation do we want to make negative? A, B, or C? B? Okay. So what I want you to do is we're going to take this equation B, and multiply it by -1. So I'm going to take this equation B. So I'm going to take equation B, and I have to multiply that by -1. And then I'm going to add that to A. But I need to multiply equation B by -1 first. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's take this equation B and multiply this by -1 all the way through. So that would give me -4x minus 2y minus z as in zebra. I always make my z look different so you don't get it confused with a 2. That equals -64. So let me make sure I didn't mess up. -4x minus 2y minus z equals -64. Now, right under that, I want you to write equation A, which is x plus y plus z equals 48. And notice that we have the opposites, so go ahead and add these together. Add these two equations together. So I needed the opposites because if I didn't have opposites, when I added them, nothing would eliminate. And we need one of the three to eliminate. So when I add them together, I get -3x minus 1y. This eliminates. And what is -64 plus 48? -16. Do we all agree that it's -16? Because I left my calculator in the front. All right, so I'm going to leave that here. I'm going to box that up. I'm going to call this equation D. And then I need to do that again. So the second time, we're going to add together equation B and C. So I'm going to rewrite this equation that I have right here, which is that -4x minus 2y minus z equals -64. But this time, I want you to write equation C under it. And add those together. So the first time I did equation A and B, and the second time I'm using equations B and C. So this one is actually really good because notice that equations D and E, they already have opposites. So what's going to cancel when I add these together, X or Y? So go ahead and add these two together and solve it for X. So I'm going to write equation D and E at the top here. Take a second, add these two together, and solve it for X. So what did you get for X? Anybody else get negative 16? I heard one person. Anybody else get negative 16? All right, so we got X. So the next thing we want to do is find Y. Now, in order to find Y, we can use either one of these. So I think I want to use this one because 5 and the 1 are positive. So go ahead and use this one to find Y. So take a minute and solve that for Y. I'm going to label out these steps so that hopefully you're taking good notes to help you. You only have one 3x3 to do on the quiz. So as long as you have the steps, you'll be fine. So I believe this is negative 80. Is 5 times negative 16 negative 80? Okay. So now we're going to add that 80 to negative 16. And then you have Y. So what do we get for Y? 64? Who got 64? Okay. Let's put that to the side. So now what do I do? How do I find Z? Yep, go to either A, B, or C. Now, I think equation A looks like it's the easiest to work with. So my last step is going to be to find X. And I'm not X, Z. And I'm going to use the first equation. So this first equation, and actually I'm going to write at the top of the screen. Let me move up because I got some space. Okay. So now I'm going to find Z. And I think it's easiest to use this first one that says the X plus Y plus Z equals 48. So X is, so it's X plus Y plus Z equals 48. So we know X is negative 16. I know Y is 64. I don't know Z. So go ahead, take a minute and solve that for Z. Yes. Which one? Like these two? Oh yeah, you could use that one. You could use this negative 4x too. Yeah, you could use that. You know, I just always go back to one of the original equations. I think that's easiest. And I'm noticing that this first one has all ones. So we just need to combine. So in your calculator, add the negative 16 plus 64, which I believe is 48. So you have 48 plus z equals 48. And when you subtract 48 from 48, you get 0. So your solutions are, all right at the bottom, x is negative 16, y is 64, and z is 0. That is the solution to this system.